Armen and Levack, 104.5 The Team, joined now by ESPN's Adam Schefter with us live. Thanks to Death Wish Coffee and Shefty last night in Monday Night Football. The Steelers win, but the clock runs off 18 seconds before the final drive in the fourth quarter. Instead of 2:56, there was 2:38. How does that happen, Shefty?
Well, I don't know. Again, every week it seems like there's something that happens that you think couldn't happen. That hasn't happened before. It's usually on Monday night. It's usually in front of a national TV audience. It's usually something the league should get right and hasn't for whatever reason. And again, if the Steelers had lost that game, it would have been a major controversy. But the fact that they were able to pull it out, I think diffuses it. And the NFL is fortunate to a certain extent that Pittsburgh won, that Le'Veon Bell did get in, because if he hadn't gotten in, oh boy, would we be talking about that today.
Well, that's another point, Shefty. What does it say about Tomlin that he actually goes for the win instead of the tie? So many coaches don't do that.
I thought that was the right call at that time. I even said it. I was driving home last night from Bristol, Connecticut. I'm thinking to myself, as it's going through, you got to go for the win. There was a penalty. I think I didn't see it actually unfold, but it sounded like the ball was on the, half-yard line?
It's definitely inside the one, yeah.
Yeah, you got one play from the half-yard line to try to win the game, whereas if you kick a field goal, first of all, the chances of you making that field goal are probably 98%, but then your chances of winning in overtime are probably, 50%. So I think the chance of making that play from the half-yard line is probably fairly high, much higher than going to overtime. So I thought he did the logical thing and the right thing.
ESPN's Adam Schefter, thanks to deathwishcoffee.com/vote. Shefty, could Big Ben be back next week for the Steelers?
I don't think that's going to happen. The way it was described to me was it was a long shot chance, and I think he went out last night and tried to throw in pregame warm-ups, and there's a lot of pain in that knee still. They play Arizona this week. He wants to play against the Cardinals head coach Bruce Arians, who's his former offensive coordinator in Pittsburgh. He really wants to do that. I just don't think that he's going to have enough movement to make that realistic. Now, saying that, the guy's a freak. He comes back from injury sooner than people realize, and maybe he does do it again on Sunday. I would be surprised. I think that we're going to get Michael Vick for 2 more starts, and my guess would be that we get Ben Roethlisberger on November 1st at home, which is the start of a 3-game stand for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Shefty, Giants backup tight end Daniel Fells. What do we know?
A very serious situation, very troubling situation. Got a cortisone shot in his foot, went wrong, got a MRSA infection, is in the hospital now. Tom Coughlin said yesterday he's doing much better, but he's not out of the woods yet. And when we say out of the woods, that means his football career potentially ending, him losing a portion of that foot. There's a lot of issues there that they're hoping that they can work through, and you just hope that they can work it out and save that foot, save his career, save whatever they can here, and that doctors do the great job that the Giants are expecting.
ESPN's Adam Schefter, thanks to deathwishcoffee.com/vote. Hey, Sheldon Richardson is back. Still no chance that he gets punished for a second offense this season?
Well, you never say no chance, but the league is usually going to wait until after those cases are adjudicated. My guess would be that would be the case, and I think lawyers do their job of putting off these cases. Typically, well, after the season, a lot of times they push out the punishment until the NFL could sound up. The NFL, I don't know how the league disciplines him when we don't know exactly what he did or didn't do. He hasn't been found guilty or innocent. So the league typically waits in matters like that, and that case from this summer where he drove 143 miles an hour with a 12-year-old in the car, and they found a gun. That case doesn't sound like it's going to be tried or whatever it is till after the season. And so I think the league will wait to see the results of that before it issues any discipline. If it hands out any discipline at all, we'll just have to see. I think the league typically takes a patient approach. I think the league learned a lesson last year not to let the legal system dictate the approach that the league should take. The league should still do what it believes is right and wrong, not what just the legal system says. But yeah, that was always my sense, is that would be a 2016 issue for Sheldon Richardson, not 2015.
Shefty, I know the Jets are coming off of a bye week, and of course we have the Sheldon Richardson coming back, but I find it incredible just how quiet Jets camp is now with Todd Bowles as their head coach.
Well, first of all, they're on a bye week, so I think that colors your opinion to a certain degree. And a lot of people were not hearing a lot of things about them, particularly with the Yankees in the playoffs, the Mets in the playoffs, the Knicks getting ready to open their season, the Rangers and Islanders opening their season. So they're a little bit in the background, which isn't always going to be the case. But the bye week certainly takes them off the radar for a little bit. They're back in it, but there's so much going on that the focus has not been squarely on them. I can assure you that before the season is through, we'll be hearing plenty about the New York Jets. It's just that they don't really have any major controversies at this time, which is why a lot of people are not talking about them.
ESPN's Adam Schefter, deathwishcoffee.com/vote brings him to us every week. Shefty, Tyrod Taylor's banged up. The Bills bring in Josh Johnson. Any developments or in this developing situation in the Buffalo Bills quarterback situation?
There's been a report on CBS that Tyrod Taylor has an MCL sprain, and if that's the case, then that could be a little while. Now, again, you look at their schedule. You look at what they did. They signed Josh Johnson. Tyrod Taylor's banged up. Let's say it is the MCL that's being reported. I don't know that it is or it isn't. I'm just saying, let's just say it is. Let's say he misses 2 games. They've got a bye week. So typically in a case like that, you might give the guy 3 weeks to miss 2 games and get ready for the game after the bye. But when you sign Josh Johnson, that tells you that you've got major concerns about this guy being ready for this Sunday. So I think we can speak to this Sunday, and the fact they signed another quarterback tells you that they're not overly confident Tyrod Taylor is going to be available to them.
You broke the news that teams are approaching the Saints about trading for Sean Payton in the offseason. Why would the Saints even be interested in trading their Super Bowl winning coach?
Well, listen, I think anytime a coach is in one place for as long as Sean Payton has been, Bill Walsh used to say that no coach should stay in any one city more than 10 years. Now, there are always exceptions. We see Bill Belichick proving that inaccurate in New England, but that's not necessarily true of certain people. Certain times, with certain organizations and certain coaches, it's good for everybody involved if someone goes another direction and moves on. And I think in this particular case, there'll be teams that inquire about Sean Payton's availability, and it'll be up to the Saints to determine whether or not they want to grant permission, up to Sean Payton to determine whether or not he's willing to leave. And they can make that decision at the appropriate time when they have all the facts in front of them. But I do believe, which is what I reported, that there will be multiple teams that inquire about his availability, including Miami.
ESPN's Adam Schefter. Thanks to deathwishcoffee.com/vote. Shefty, thanks for your time, man. We'll do it again next week.
Guys, have a great week. I'll talk to you on Monday.
You too, brother. Thanks, man.